I think it is important to have federal heritage designation for residential schools because I think it's really important to have those sites as sites of memory and learning. However, I think it's really important that those heritage sites are identified in collaboration with First Nation, Métis and Inuit people in the communities of the children who went to the residential schools. Well, I think first of all it's important to consider what part the federal government has to play in placing the commemorative markers on sites of residential schools. I think the federal government has a responsibility to fund that and to support that and acknowledge that in a respectful way. But I think it's up to the First Nation, Métis and Inuit people, both of the communities where the children came from to go to residential school and of the traditional territories where the residential schools were sitting. I think it's important that the people themselves determine what that will look like and that the federal government should acknowledge and respect that. So I think it's up to the communities themselves to determine whether or not a plaque format is appropriate. Personally, I'm not in favor of the plaque format just because I believe that the plaques that we're accustomed to seeing in heritage designated areas are very much symbolism of the colonialism that residential schools are a part of. And I think that there are far more appropriate ways to do that, and it's up to the First Nation, Métis and Inuit people of the territories to determine what that would look like.
I think that there was such a negative connotation with these schools that kind of came up that they forced people to change lifestyles. And I think this one might have been a little bit more unique in that it was never forcing people to change a lifestyle, although it did make them much more agrarian oriented as opposed to hunter-gatherer oriented. Honestly, I think that they embraced the Cree and the Métis lifestyle so well that they actually brought that into their own teaching, and the students were not just taught French and English, but they were taught Cree. Some of the English students were taught Cree so that they could communicate with the local Cree people and the local Métis. And that's a huge thing. In fact, we still celebrate that on July 1st because we sing our national anthem not just in French and English, but we also bring a lovely Cree young girl who comes and she just does a beautiful job. I'm fairly new to the community. After being here and watching the July 1st, where literally the entire community comes together and visits and is a part of this place and embraces this place as home, I think that this is just a wonderful opportunity to showcase rural Alberta life and showcase how people can come together and have a marvelous time doing it.